Well, this is really a video about Blender and open source, so it's really not a Mac versus PC video, but I'm going to touch on it for a tad bit. As you can see from the picture on my desktop, it's people tell me all the time, oh, Macs can get a virus, Macs can get viruses, Macs can get malware, Macs can get spyware. That's what exactly all that is, just talk. Because for every one of these people that tell me Macs get viruses, Macs get spyware, Macs get this and that and this and that, if you think viruses can't be written for the Mac, you're just an idiot. Or if you're telling people there's no viruses for the Mac, that's just plain untrue. But you know what? Every time I ask these people, then show me a virus. Take me out, introduce me to a Mac user who's been infected with one, or send me to somewhere where I can get infected. Don't just link to some fucking article. Because every time I ask a PC user to prove that Macs get viruses and stuff, all they do is link me to an article that says, here's a virus. But that article is doing the same thing they are, just telling me here's a virus. I don't want to link to an article, I want to see the virus. And I mean, my 25 years of using Mac, I've never contracted one virus. And for the few people that have, there's no viruses out there that can zero out your BIOS like you can get on Windows. You can get viruses on Windows that will destroy you, will chew you up and spit you out like a piece of fucking meat, is what it will do. Some of these viruses on Windows are so malicious. It's no joke. So let me move past that. This is not an attack on the open source community, because I know many open source developers that are just cool as hell. But this is in particular, it used to be more so than it is now. But it's getting to be back that way again, and mainly it's with Blender. People keep asking me, you know, I see you like 3D and you use 3D. Why don't you use Blender? I've tried Blender several times. I have. Every 6 months, like the idiot that I am, I'll go back out and download it again if I've, you know, see if there's a new version or something, and give it a second go. But for one, the GUI in Blender is so fucked up that it's beyond recognition. It's just so fucked up that I don't even consider using it. You know, somebody who makes money in their professional career is used to things working a certain way, and if they want to switch apps to Blender, they can't. They can't stop in the middle of a project and learn Blender. I mean, the GUI is just so fucked, and the Blender community is so condescending. They're so unwilling to admit that commercial companies sometimes have really good ideas too. It's like if they admit that, then they're just giving in to the corporate world or something. But the way the Blender community comes off, now not all Blender users. I've met some really cool Blender users, so please, no offense to the little guy that can't afford a big 3D app and uses Blender because that's all they can afford. Okay, no offense to these people. But I've tried to use Blender, and I'll go to the forums and I just get treated like an asshole. Once I bring up a point that the GUI in Blender should really need to be rewritten, okay? Because if the app is properly written, in my opinion, if the app's properly written to model and stuff, then rewriting a GUI shouldn't be that hard without modifying the back end, okay? And I don't know, they're so set, and their way is better, and to be different, that they won't even think about touching that GUI, when 80% of the people I talk to, that's the reason they don't use Blender, is because of that fucking GUI. You know what the people said to me when I said the GUI sucked? Well, if you'd spend a little more time trying to learn the application instead of bitching, then you'd understand how stupid your criticism really is. That's what the answer I got. I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is perfect. This is the perfect testament to some to a big open source community. You got programmers with such big fucking egos that they're unwilling to look at what the end user needs. Okay, and they think certain aspects, they're so convinced about certain aspects being the way they do them being the right way, that they totally consider any kind of criticism completely FUD. That's what they consider any criticism, is FUD. And the sad fact is that many simply ignore certain 3D applications because they've convinced themselves that Blender is just the best because it's free. You know, and trust me guys, you get what you pay for, okay? Let's see, what did I had something written down here. Let's see, I had some thoughts. A lot of people that I've encountered, by the way, will actually brag that, you know, their program's used for this or for that, and most of the time it's not even true. But in my case, I think the entire Blender code needs rewritten. That's what I think. You know, you go to Blender forums and you do searches, you find someone who has the same problem. The response the person gets is very condescending and insulting. They ask about why why didn't they do a search before posting? Well, you should have searched before posting. You know, I mean, I'm thinking to myself, well, what if I did and I couldn't? My dumb ass couldn't find it. You know, it's just I'm sorry. I know that the whole Blender community ain't like this, but I just want the people to know that are like that. That's the reason I don't use Blender. The GUI. Fuck the community. I don't need the fucking community. If I liked Blender, I would use it, regardless of how shitty the community was. You know, but there's no fucking support. At least with pay applications, I can call somebody up 24 hours a day. If I want to know how to bevel a vertice, I can call fucking Luxology up anytime I want and ask them, because I have a purchase license of Moto. It's not like that with Blender. I have to go to the fucking forums and find people that's got the same problems as me, and half the time you don't get an answer, or you gotta wait till somebody answers your question. It's all bullshit, if you ask me. So I like what Blender's trying to do, just the community around it's just too fucking cocky. Not everybody, just some of you. So, I'll have a revised edition of the 10 things Mac's done for the computer world in the next couple videos. I'm just redoing it so nobody can holler plagiarism. So, OS 10, guys.